What's up, everybody? It's Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey, got another review for you today. I almost couldn't say that out loud. I don't know why. But we got a lot to get through today because I feel like this is a really, really cool knife. But the company and what they're trying to do, I think, is really, really cool as well. And so it's kind of a lot to go through. A lot. That's not really how you should say that. But there's a lot to unpack, I guess, if you will. And we're going to get to it, all right? Guys, what we have here today is the Architect Knives AK8, the 8-inch, basically the 8-inch version of the Architect Knives design. So, guys, this thing is pretty damn cool. If you guys don't know, Architect Knives is a small family-owned business based here in the U.S. The owner, Ethan Stoops, his dad, Dell, originally came up with the design and started the company. The first Architect knives were made by Tops Knives and sold exclusively through the Knife Connection. But now Architect Knives, you can still buy them through the Knife Connection, but you can also purchase them directly through Architect Knives website. And I'm going to have links to both of those down below in the description. So, definitely you're going to want to go check this out because there's a lot to go through. Basically, you can build your own knife with Architect Knives. If you go to the website, they basically have a 3-inch blade, a 3.5, like a 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, all the way up to it. Basically, you can go from like a 3-inch all the way to like an 8-inch blade in between there. And pick your blade length, right? Then you can choose your blade still. Then you can choose whatever handle option you want. Then you could choose what other color Kydex or leather sheath that you want. Okay, there's not every color in the leather, but you could choose whether you want Kydex or leather. There's multiple options for the Kydex. There's a couple of options for the leather. You can choose if you want a dangler. You can choose if you want tech lock. You basically pick your mounting option. You can add a fire still to it, and then you can even order paracord if you need paracord. So it comes in 100-foot links from Atwood rope. Your good old 550. Dude, you can design this knife basically however you want it. So, which is, I think, a really cool option. Now, when it comes time to pick your blade stills, that's a very cool option as well. So you basically have 4 options. Now, some options aren't currently available right now. They're coming later this year. So keep that in mind if you go on the website and look. But essentially, every blade is going to have, eventually, every blade is going to have all 4 options available. Okay. And basically, you're going to start off with 1095. You're going to have CPM S35, CPM V3, and CPM MagnaCut. Okay, so those are going to be your options. So what's really cool is, like, depending on maybe your price, your budget, or what you maybe want to use the knife for, you can pick and choose what still is going to work best for you. And I think that's a really cool thing because, sometimes you may really like this blade over here, but it's 1095, and you're like, man, I use this a lot in the water. I need a stainless, but I can't get it in stainless. Well, like with these blades, you're going to be able to pick and choose what fits your needs, which I think is a really cool option. Okay, now there's 2 manufacturers that are essentially making these blades for Architect Knives. Okay, the 1095 models like this 1095 AK8, and check this bad boy out. This thing is gorgeous. The 1095, all the 1095 steel models are made by Tops Knives for Architect Knives. So you're getting Tops Knives, high quality 1095. They got the 1095 heat treatment down like nobody else does. So you're going to get a really, awesome 1095 blade if you choose 1095. On the other 3 options, the MagnaCut, the CPM V3, and the CPM S35, White River Knives is making all of those for Architect Knives. So you have 2 great American-owned companies that are making the blades for Architect Knives. Okay, and Architect Knives is sourcing a lot of their, pretty much sourcing everything here in the U.S. So you're getting American-made knives with Architect Knives. So, which is a very cool thing. And like I said, it's really awesome is that you can go in and pick and choose what you want. So like with this AK8, I went and chose the double red micarta handle. Look at that, the beautiful. It's got that real beautiful deep red look to it. I went with a carbon fiber sheath, right? So check that out. Very beautiful carbon fiber sheath. I went with a leather backer. So I have this leather backer on here that's black. I can run my belt through here, or I can attach this belt dangler that I have on here. So it gives me a couple of different options. I could take this leather backer completely off and maybe put some scout straps on there, or some beta loops if I wanted to. I also added a fire still on there as well. You can see there. And so it's just super cool. One of the other really neat things about this sheath is, I've only seen this one other time, and that was with TKL knives. This basically has a locking mechanism for the sheath. So right now I can just easily put my thumb on here, pop it right out, pops in and out, no problem. Really good sheath retention. I mean, there's no rattle in here at all. But if I want to, like, let's say I know I'm going to be going on a very rigorous hike, or there's a possibility I could fall down a hillside or something like that, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose my knife, or maybe you have to do a river crossing or something like that and you're afraid your knife's going to fall out. Right here is this little, you'll see this little kind of flathead screw. It's basically, you just take your thumb and forefinger, slide that all the way into the up position. This sucker is locked in super tight. Like, you have to really pull to get it out. So that gives you a really cool option of being able to protect your knife, keep it locked in and secured if you need it to. And then if you don't need it that secure, just slide that back down. Now your knife's going to slide in and out just like normal. Still super really good retention, but it gives you a way to help lock your knife in a little bit better. And I mean, seriously, you got to pull pretty darn hard to get it out in that lock position. But if an emergency arose and you really needed to get it out and you didn't have time to turn that lock off, you can still draw it. So keep that in mind. So definitely a very cool setup. I highly suggest you go check out Architect Knives webpage and play around with it and look at like all the different options that they have. Like I said, there's so many to go through, like with the different sheath colors, with the Kydex, the different backing options, you know. It's just really cool. And every time you pick something, it'll tell you like what the price is next to it. So like, okay, I want $10.95 still. $10.95 is just the blade by itself with nothing else is this price. Okay, now I want this Kydex sheath in the carbon fiber. It's this price. And it adds everything up for you. So also, depending on your budget, it gives you the room to play around with, like, well, maybe I can't afford, you know, $300. I can afford $225. Well, you could play around with the different options and probably get your knife down to that price range that you're looking at, or, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a cool thing to do and a cool thing to check out. I highly suggest you go jump on there and look at the different kind of options that are available. One thing I will point out is that basically the blade shape for all the models is pretty much almost identical. Okay, so it's basically, you basically have like a 3-inch all the way to an 8-inch model, kind of the same blade shape. I say kind of, it's, some of them are, you know, because of the different sizes, they're not identical, but they're similar, if that makes sense. That, at least they look similar to me. That's my own personal opinion. But it's really cool because, like you said, you have multiple options. One thing I will note, this is a first run production model right here. It does have a fire steel striker right here built in. In the future runs, this is not going to be there anymore. This is going to be completely flat. You're not going to have this fire striker spot right here. What they're going to do is they're going to give you the option of having a 90-degree spine put on right here, rather than just having this kind of dedicated little notch. So keep that in mind, which is cool because some people don't like, you know, having 90-degree spine. Some people absolutely want a 90-degree spine, so you're going to have the option to be able to pick that. So that's really cool. Let's go over the specs on this bad boy. So this model is currently, the one I have here is 1095. Okay, so this is made by Tops, 1095. It has a Rockwell hardness of 56 to 58. The angle, the edge degree angle, depending on the blade steel type, varies. Okay, so keep that in mind. But on the 1095, you know, models, you're looking at a 24 to 26 degree edge. The overall length on this is 13.5 inches from the spine to the cutting edge. So this way, you know, I don't know how you want to look at that, from top down to the edge. You know, it's a spec that I don't normally get, so it's kind of like any weird for me. But spine to the cutting edge, you're looking at 1.58 inch. The blade length itself is 8.2 inch. The cutting edge from right here where the start of the finger choil is to the tip, you're looking at 7.28. You have a blade thickness of 0.187. The weight with the G10 handle is 14.6 ounces. So this one's, you know, because it's an 8-inch blade, it's a little bit beefier, a little bit heavier. It is a drop point with a high saber grind, and your handle length, you're looking at 4.87 inches. And you also have a kind of serrated attitude adjuster here, pommel, if you will. So if you had to, you know, crack a coconut or a crab shell, you could definitely do that. And we'll be showing that off here in a little bit. But guys, the handle scales are really nicely rounded. They fit very nicely in my hand. I mean, I got a full grip on this. I can get up here in the finger choil area if I got to do some finer work, you know. But I mean, you got a nice little kind of finger choil right here that's going to keep your hand kind of locked into place, especially if you got to come in the reverse grip and do some stabbing. You know, you're going to be able to do that as well. Got a nice drop point, you can see there. Sorry, my camera's moving a little bit, guys. A little bit windy out here right now, so it's kind of blowing my camera and tripod around. But very, very nicely done. This is a super cool setup. I really dig it. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's got kind of the whole package. Like I said, I can run it with a dangler. I could just run in my belt straight through the belt loop. Just so many different options. So it's kind of cool because you can kind of go crazy on the website, picking all the different things you want. And you can really customize this blade to what's going to fit your use, your style, your needs. So guys, without further ado, I mean, I guess we should kind of just get right on into the testing. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, that the 1095 model does have a clear ceramic Cerakote on it, so that helps protect the blade finish as well. So something to note in case you were wondering like what the blade finish was. It's a clear ceramic Cerakote. So almost forgot to mention that. So let's get over to the testing area and let's start putting this bad boy to use. Let's see what it can do. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, we are back, and hopefully my camera doesn't overheat on me. It's like hot out here today. It's like getting up to almost 100. We should be fine though. Anyway, one thing I did almost forget to mention is when you get your Architect knife in the mail, it basically comes unassembled, if that makes sense. So mine came with the handle scales attached, but the leather backer and everything else on the sheath I had to put on there. It comes with all the mounting hardware. It's not hard to do. Like I said, it kind of gives you that option to set the knife up however you want. So keep that in mind when you get your knife. It's going to come, you know, the leather backer won't be on the sheath or the tech lock or whatever it is. The fire still won't be on there, but everything's there. It's just, you just got to put it together kind of. So it's not a big deal. It's actually kind of cool. Set up how you want, right? So that's to keep that in mind. Now that we're out here in the sun a little bit, let me give you another close look at this bad boy again. I mean, this thing is a nice weight to it. I mean, you can come in here and do some good chopping, which we're going to do. Like I said, you get in there, do some fine work with that choil, which we're going to do. So we've shown the sheath. Oh, one thing I do need to do is let's take this fire steel off here. I have not tried the fire steel striker, so let's put this right here and let's see if we can strike some sparks. There we go. So you guys can see that we're lighting off some sparks there. Not a problem. Got that typical kind of little magnesium, little powder burn marks on there, but can you strike the fire still with it? Absolutely. So kind of good to know there, guys. Obviously, I didn't think it would be a problem, but you know, let's put that back on so we don't lose it. But you put your fire steel back on, you're good to go. So let's get into our rope cutting. So we have, first off, we have the nylon yellow poly rope stuff. So if you guys got to come in there, you're doing some rope work, things like that, come in here. Oh, just cut through it easily, no problem. Let's do another one here. Slices through, no problem. Let's say you got to chop some of this stuff. Like I got 3 piled up here, 3 strands, as you can see there. Cut them all and sent them all flying, made a mess. Not a problem. So we got our kind of brown Sisu style rope. This is some stuff I bought at Hobby Lobby. Wife was over there buying some stuff. Okay, I went over there and I buy stuff too. We all have hobbies, right? So you got to cut some of this stuff up, you know, making your wife's Halloween decorations. bam, kind of cut through, not a problem. You know, you can cut through easily. Let's say that, right? Right there, cut through. Got a couple of pieces here. Let's cut them right in half. Absolutely. So if you had to come in and do the chop, you could do that. Got this cotton rope. It's a little bit thicker. This is just a basic kind of soft cotton rope, more for decorative purposes, I guess. But easily come in there and cut that stuff as well. Do a nice chop, cut it off in half. If you had to do that, you can. Absolutely. And then we got the big boy, right? This is the sissy rope, the 3/8 inch thick sissy. This stuff is tough to cut. It's hard on a knife edge. You had to come in here and cut a piece of this off. There you go. Cut some off. Absolutely. Save this stuff. It makes a good fire. You know what? As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's make a little fire. Let's make a little fire. I haven't done this in a while. Just to show, if you're new to my channel, I've actually done this where I take this sissy rope, I kind of bunch it, you know, rub it between my fingers, break it up, get it all fibrous, if you will. Kind of pull this inner parts. So you get this stuff, you make a nice little pile here, right? Take your fire still or whatever you're using to make a fire. I mean, you could obviously do this with matches or a lighter view, but if you have a fire still, you could easily come in here, hold your knife right here. Let's see. Sorry, I sometimes do this wrong, if you will. I was told that you're supposed to keep the knife in place and do this still. There you go. Bam. See that fire going right there? I know it's kind of sunny, but got a nice fire. Are we not, man? Right? So you got a nice fire going, you're ready to rock and roll. So let's put that out real quick. We'll put this piece of concrete on there, kind of smother it out, and you are good to go. So anyway, wanted to show you guys that you can absolutely build a fire with it if you wanted to. Obviously you can use dead grass or whatever to make your fire, but I just thought I'd show that off, give you guys a little extra something. So, but if you had to chop a piece of this sissy rope off instead of just cutting it, you could come in there, bam, make your chop, make a mess, rock and roll, right? Up next we got a little paracord here. So this stuff is like a kind of a fake paracord, if you will, but it's bam, you can come in here, cut this stuff up nice and easy, cut right through it. Absolutely. You had to do it with standard paracord, you can do that as well. I think I still got a little bit of a ember going over here, better stomp that out before I start a mini fire here in my backyard. So up next we got the fire hose, guys. This stuff is actual fire hose. It's 3 layers, 2 layers of canvas with a layer of black rubber that's glued inside. This stuff is a pain in the butt to cut because it is cut and abrasion resistance, because it's made to go through car crashes, broken glass, blood, guts, fire, all that stuff. So it's very, very tough, very durable material. So it's oftentimes kind of a pain in the butt to cut. So let's see if we can cut through this. Yep, look at that. Cut right through it, nice and easy, which is a good thing. It means it's got a really acute edge to it. 1090, Tops always puts a great edge on their blades. This is an Architect knife made by Tops, but the edge is always fantastic. Come in, had to stab through, absolutely, right through it. The only reason why it stops is because of the stump. So look at that, cut and just kind of pulled right through. Slicing right through. I mean, that's a sharp edge, guys, really sharp edge. So up next we have just this old leather belt from Justin Boot Company, top grain leather. It's just an old belt that I had, but I like to come in here and cut a piece of this off. So if you had to say cut a piece of leather for whatever reason, can you do it? Absolutely. If you want to come here, do a chop and go flying over there, absolutely. Cut leather, sure can. It could simulate hide, maybe. Like maybe you have some old deer hide or something out, and you're making an old John J. Rambo leather vest, to run around in the woods. It might be dried out. You might need to cut it to simulate dried up leather. what was I going to do here? Oh, I was going to do my 3000 psi rated air compressor hose, guys. So this is just again, it's like a nylon reinforced air compressor hose, 3000 psi rated. You come in here, chop a piece off, goes flying off. If you had to come in here and cut a piece off, you can cut a piece off, and there it goes falling on the ground. Nice and easy. You wanted to do a press cut, cut that in half. There you go. You can cut it in half. Absolutely. So you can handle some, hose, like maybe you have a radiator hose or something you got to cut. This right here is the last of this came off an old air compressor as well. This was the power cord. So you got 3 copper wires in there that are leather, or not leather, plastic sheath, if you will, for protection, plus the outer layer. So, it's metal, it's copper, it's a wire. So it's, not always the easiest thing to cut, but we're going to come in and we're going to chop the piece off. Bam, went flying off. Nice clean cut. Not a problem. So you can cut some wire if you had to. Absolutely. Let's check this edge out. The edge is looking perfectly fine. There's no chips or rolls. I don't see any glinting. My arm's super sweaty, so let's see if we can shave some hair off here. Absolutely. There. Shave some hair. You can see there. See that hair? Woo. So still shave the hair off your arm. So now we are going to get to the pommel test, right? So as I said before, it does have this exposed pommel, as you can see there, kind of serrated. It's got a little bit of jimping on there, if you will. You also have this generous kind of lanyard hole you can run lanyard through. So you do have a lanyard area as well. But this is a nice little coconut opener, a little attitude adjuster, if you will. You might have that shell crab, shellfish that you caught out at the beach. He's being a little difficult, and you're like, "Hey, buddy, I'm gonna crack you open and eat you." So let's do this, son. Woo! Look at that. So we know the attitude adjuster will adjust some attitude, right? Look at that. That was one piece. Broke it up was able to crack it, break it up into 3. So let's check it out here. Got some of the concrete there is kind of wedged into the jimping, but we can get that out. Let's just do a couple of hits on the old wood here, knock it out. Not a problem. The handle is still on tight. Nothing's came loose. Everything still feels good. I don't see any cracks or nothing like that. So holding up pretty good so far. So let's get to some wood stuff, right? Because that's, we want to say, hey, can this thing do some wood processing? Well, I think it absolutely can. So here's a piece of seasoned almond wood. Nothing crazy, but we're going to come in here and slice some pieces off. You can see that there. So you can come in here and cut you off some fine little curls if you need to. Or, I'm not really good at feather stick making, guys, so, gotta bear with me. Oh yeah, it's coming in there nicely. Come in there and make some nice little curls. If you can see there, you absolutely could. You could also do it this way as well, where you stick the knife in a log and you can kind of come in here. Make some curls this way, if you will. It's actually a pretty fun way to do this, and you can actually make some pretty quick. But check that out. So if you needed to, you could actually cut these off, break this off. Maybe you use your fire still, obviously, or your little bird's nest and get your fire going. So you could absolutely do that. Say you wanted to come in here and chop that piece off. There it is. Good thing that tree behind me stopped it. Cut it off. Could absolutely do that. So come in here. Could do some light batoning if you needed to. Guys, this is the big boy of the series of knives, and this thing was actually made to kind of do some of that heavier batoning work if you needed to. So this is a piece of a 2x or 4x4 that from a bunch of my chopping tests. Yeah, you can easily come in here and baton through. Kind of hit a knot right there. Let's check this out. Yeah, no problem with the edge. The actual coating itself, that Cerakoting, is holding up really good, as you can see there. So if you had to come in and do some batoning with it, you could. Let's say you needed to make a vampire steak, if you will. You know what, we're going to start fresh and new here. This is a wood dowel. We're just going to go across the grain there. Do a nice clean cut. There we go. So we got a fresh cut there. We got to make that tent steak, right? So you're like, you could do it one of two ways. You can come in here and kind of just start hogging off material like so. I actually kind of just prefer to do the kind of chopping method at first. Get it down a little bit, because it just saves you a little bit of time in the long run, right? And sometimes time might be of the essence. You know, that windstorm might be coming in and you're like, man, I need to hurry up and get my tent or tarp stake down quick, fast, in a hurry before that storm comes in. Or, you know, that vampire chupacabra bat thing's flying in and you're like, oh man, I need my steak quick, fast, in a hurry. So come in here, kind of get it down to where you need it. Just start hogging off material, rotating your steak around so you can get it down to that nice fine point. All right, there you go. Now you're ready to stick that in the ground. You can even come in here, choke up on a little bit, do a little bit finer. Get this bad boy needle point, if you will, ready to stick it in the ground. Now, obviously, you're going to use this as a tent stake. You're going to need a little area right here to attach the rope, right? Like a notch, if you will. So this might not be the exact right way to make a notch, but this is kind of how I do it. I'll kind of come in here. I'll tap the blade in just a little bit, maybe about a 1/4 of an inch. That's kind of my go-to line, where that's where I'm going to start cutting into. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to start sliding the knife into this area. And see, part of doing this too, guys, is to show you guys that you can do finer task with a bigger blade as well. Sometimes it's not the easiest, or it's not the most convenient thing to do, you know, but it can be done if you have to have a one tool option, right? So we're going to come in here, going to keep cutting this down, almost like you're making shavings for a fire, you know. So you get it to a certain point, kind of cut these out. This may not be the easiest way to make a tent steak, but this is the way I do it. So if you got a better way of doing it, make me a video and show me, because I'd like to see it. There we go. And I would like to point out, guys, that I am by no means a bushcraft survival expert or anything like that. This is just stuff I play around with and I practice, and hopefully I get better and better at it. But you can see I kind of made a notch there. So if I had to stick the tent in, the stake in the ground this way, I could tie my paracord around this way. It's going to stay kind of hooked onto here. If I had more time, I can actually make that better, but you know, it is what it is. But anyway, come in here. Let's cut it. Bam. Cut that off. So let's get into some chopping here, guys, right? So I want to see, how can this bad boy handle some chopping? So this is a this is part of a 2x8. I think that's what it is. So obviously you can see it's like 2 inches thick by 8 inches wide. Let's see what kind of chopping we do. We're gonna go 30 hits. Let's see what we can do. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, sink it in there deep, 30. All right. So, kind of funny is it doesn't look like I went super deep on that side, although I did. Those are some clean cuts. If I flip it around, I think because of the way I was sitting, I was cutting more at a downward angle like this. But you can see there a nice deep V cut into that 30 hits. It felt pretty good. I was able to actually kind of choke back a little bit to give it a little bit more of a whip. So I was able to kind of come in there and get a little bit more whip chop on it, which was nice. And let's check out this edge. Still a sharp edge, guys. Still no glinting, no rolling, no chipping. See that there? Holding up beautifully. You know, and I kind of would expect nothing less. Let's do a little bit of a stab testing here on the tip. So, got this 2x8 here. We're going to stab into this bad boy. Pry a piece out. Check that tip. That is still straight. The whole tip is still straight, even though it was prying out to the side. You can see it was starting to pry pieces out of the wood. But that tip is still sharp, still an acute tip. You had to come in here and again stab through this fire hose. You'll be able to do it. And then cut through like that. So still got an edge, still got a tip, guys. So holding up pretty damn well. Yeah, I like it. Feels good. I'm a sucker for big blades, guys. I just really like them. I figure it's better to have, yeah, I would say it's better to have a little bit more blade than what you need, just in case you need it. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not an expert. But ultimately, you know, we got to see how tough this bad boy is. So here's another piece of seasoned almond wood. We're going to come in here and we're going to baton down through this. Oh, yeah. So right when I got to the bottom, I don't know if you can see this right here. There's a knot right there. Kind of split it right down there through this knot area. So kind of right through here. So handled the knot just fine. Still nice and straight. Still got an edge. So, guys, we're going to go. You know, Architect Knives said that they made the AK8 to be the big boy for their series of blades. And, well, it's meant to do the heavier work, maybe some of the chopping work. And here we go. Piece of seasoned almond wood right here. We're going to come right here. We're going to see what we can do. Now, guys, I don't recommend batoning. You know, smaller stuff with a knife like this, absolutely. Would I recommend, honestly, batoning something this size? Probably not. If you have an axe or something like that, by all means, use the axe or whatever. But things happen, right? Sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes your axe falls out of the back of your truck while you're four-wheeling. Sometimes you forget it at home because you're too busy worried about loading up that ice chest, if you know what I mean. So this might be what you have to break down some wood to build a fire. So you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And it's nice to know that your knife may or may not be able to handle it. So let's go. Whew, breaking my baton stick. All right, so you can see there that I just dropped the whole thing. You can see there I'm not going to get very far batoning into this. One, because I'm kind of batoning right into a giant knot, as you can see there. But I definitely put some heavy hits on that, driving this sucker in there. And let's pull it out and make sure she's still straight. You might have to... There we go. Wedge that in there good. Guys, if that's not a toughness test, I don't know what is. So, ow, I just threw the log on my leg. Ooh, yeah. Still sharp. Here's the thing, I was kind of coming in at an angle. Yes, and we are still straight. Look at that. Guys, that is a testament to the 1095 heat treat on this blade. Okay, 1090 Tops does a differential heat treat where you get the nice hard edge, but you have a softer spine. And I believe it's stuff like that that keeps knives like this from bending or breaking. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but when I batoned in, my blade wasn't straight up and down. It actually came in at an angle. So I was actually hammering it in at kind of a cant. As I'm hammering, that is putting a tremendous amount of pressure on that edge. And I could have easily snapped a chunk of that edge out by doing that, and it didn't break. It's perfectly fine. So the heat treat on this is fantastic, right? So I don't know what else to tell you. If you don't think it is, well, think what you want to think. But we are going to do a little bit more heavy chopping on this, and we're going to go back to this guy because this is a hard-ass piece of wood. Pardon my language. I hope that's not considered offensive to some people. Let's just do some more chops on this real quick and test this out a little bit more. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Look at that, guys. 30 hits on a thick, seasoned piece of almond wood that's hard as a rock. And I threw that on my foot again. I still got a sharp edge. There's no rolling or glinting on there. No chips. Check it out. The handle's still good. Everything's tight. Blade is still straight. Still got a sharp point. Guys, I think this AK8 from Architect Knives is going to handle a lot of the tasks that you need it to do. It's a tough knife. Kind of putting it through these paces right here. It held up. Honestly, like coming in at that angle on this piece of wood right here, I am thoroughly surprised I either didn't bend it or snap that edge or even chip that edge. It went in. You kind of can't see, but I was in at an angle, kind of a sideways angle, and it went to about down to here. So about a good 3/4 of an inch into the log, and it held up. So that is pretty darn good in my book. Let's come in here. Let's make a few more little fire curls. Yeah, this is the area that I just batoned into that log that I'm doing this. Look at that. That was literally the middle of the blade where I had just basically hammered into that and chopped with it. So yeah, you can still make some fire curls. Well, you know what? Let's still cutting rope. Guys, Architect Knives is definitely worth looking into. Again, for the customability, the way you could customize the knife to what you need and how it suits you is pretty awesome. Okay, like I said, you got options for steel. You got 1095, you got S35 VN, you got 3V, you have Magna Cut if you want to go on the Magna Cut, boat ride. They're going to have Magna Cut available. blade lengths from 3 to 8 inches, you know, kind of a lot of the in-betweens. They pretty much jump up in like inch increments. So it's like I think it's like a 3, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. I could be off a little bit on that. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. So you have different varying lengths depending on what you needed the knife for. Handle color options. I mean, they have G10 and micarta options. You have regular Kydex, and you have some carbon fiber. You have some leather options. I mean, it's super, make it to what you want it to be. I can't stress that enough, which is pretty awesome. And you have high quality blade makers like Thompson and White River making the actual blades for Architect. It's Architect's design. It's their like all the design features that are in this blade are Architect's design features. They just had an OEM maker make it for them, and they chose two really great American companies, Thompson and White River Knife, to do that for them. So they really wanted to keep all their stuff here in the USA, which I think we can all appreciate. And I think for the price points that you're getting these blades at with the customizing options, like I think they're definitely worth looking into. I wouldn't, you know, it's just really cool. I mean, it's just a really cool classic blade shape. Got a finger, I don't know. This is awesome. Again, I did want to point out that the Fire Striker notch here will be gone in the next run of these. It will be a flat piece, but you will have the option of putting a 90-degree spine section on the blade as well. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at this one thing. You know, you order one, it doesn't come with that. That's why. Okay, but hey, what's up, fellas? Hey, sorry, there was a bit of an abrupt change there from, you know, the little cut right there. My camera overheated and shut off on me. I was pretty much wrapping up the video. So in summary, I really think you should check out Architect Knives. Go check out their website. Check out all the different options that are available. You know, I went with the 1095 on this one just because I love 1095. It's a great option for me. I've never had any issues with 1095. But you know, like again, you can build the knife out however you want to fit your needs. And I'll tell you what, I always love me a big blade, man. This 8-inch one was like right up my alley, but I think I might be looking at ordering me a 4.5 as well, because that thing, I mean, it's just a cool blade shape. I really like it. Guys, definitely go check out Architect Knives. I got links below to Architect Knives and the Knife Connection in the description. So go check them out, see what they have to offer. So, you know, maybe order yourself up an AK8, you know, nice little package right here with the carbon fiber, double red. You know, I'm just saying, maybe I'm partial to it because it looks great to me. But guys, go check them out. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll see you next time.